Welcome to the Penumbral Pact 1 Ghostbound. So, we actually had a session 0 last week, but that was just to get. Oh, sorry, still have a cold. That was to get some of the preliminary stuff out of the way, but now we are in our first actual game session. So, before we get started, I'd like to get some quick introductions. So, first up is James.
I'm playing Jeremiah Campbell, a aged archivist who keeps, track of all the records of magic and all that stuff going back years and years. He's, as you can see from the image, old.
Yes. Oh, and we should probably put your code name in parentheses
Oh, good idea.
just for fun. Next up is Brandon.
I'll be playing Took Finnegan. I will be attempting an Irish accent here in a second.
Oh, fun.
Uh, Something along the lines of that. But Took is a half Feyborn, and so he has a tendency to go for more of a Fey magic style play. Not an offensive character, and so he'll be more support at the end of the day. His code name is Faint.
Yeah, I like that. Good to have support. Next up is Ben.
Hi, I'm playing Luka Dashkevich. He's I guess a former Siberian park ranger who's a werebear who used to kind of host other lycanthropes and help them get through their problems and is kind of a repentant werebeast. Doesn't really like that side of himself, considers himself a person. Yeah, he's also mainly a druid, so he does a lot of nature-y type magic stuff, and he also slugs it out.
Good deal. And will you be attempting a Russian accent?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I've heard your Russian accent before. Cool. Uh, and next up is JB.
Hello, I'm JB. I am playing Shaun, codename Secutor. He is an undead who, while he was dead, in whatever that means, he made a deal with some greater entity and has returned with an extra spirit in his body. And he's trying to find the people who betrayed him.
Oh, and also JB, I don't know if you saw my note, but I switched back to the original Revenant that you had there because undead is such a broad category in this campaign. So,
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
yeah, so Revenant works. And last but not least, we have a new player with us, Glenn. Hello, Glenn. Can't hear you, Glenn, if you're talking. Hello, Glenn. All right. Well, hopefully, if someone can send a message to Glenn on Discord, I'll send one here.
Alright, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Disconnected again, but we should be fine now.
Yeah, so if you can just give us a quick introduction of your character.
Yes, so I'm the new guy, and I will be playing as Jack Aston, an old-time cop, and he sort of rolled into the unknown. He wasn't known before, but his wife died because of, paranormal things happening to her, and he's now very determined to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So he's a strict follower of the code that separates the normal humans from the special world, to say.
Yes, and Brass's wife was actually Griswold, so very important
Yes.
connection to the leading family of the council. So with that, we will begin. So you all are at the Griswold Estate, which is the council's New England headquarters in Tarrytown, New York. So actually, James, since you were the one who came up with the idea for this town as our headquarters, give us a little background on why it was chosen.
Yeah, so Tarrytown is a cute little town right along the Hudson, just north of New York City. The kind of one of the enclaves within it is called Sleepy Hollow, which is where the legend of Sleepy Hollow with the Headless Horseman was set. and the town immediately south of it is named Irvington after Washington Irving, who wrote the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So there's a lot of, I think they do ghost tours there if you ever to go to visit. There's a lot of kind of mystical stuff going on there. It's also just like, it's right along the river. There's cliffs all over. It's a good spot for a good hideout just outside of New York City.
Yes.
Public transit.
And just a little bit of background for viewers or listeners. I was so set on New Orleans as a headquarters, but this totally won me over. So good choice, James. All right, so now that we're at the Griswold estate, I just want to get just a really quick mention on what your characters are doing here during the day. So actually, you will have heard the news that Joshua Benton, Gino Cicciarone, and Chelsea Reed have gone missing. So you're aware of that, but still, just in terms of everyday routine at the Griswold estate, what is your character up to? So first, Jeremiah.
Yeah, so Jeremiah is a pretty reclusive guy. So he's going to be out in the archives, which are one of the outbuildings on the estate, not kind of directly connected to the main building. And I guess, if there's news of missing people in a certain area, he'd be looking into, any historical records on that area, any background on any of them that could prove useful or interesting to, help come up with a plan.
Cool. Next, what is Jack Ashton up to?
Well, it's a bit of an awkward spot for Jack because of the wife connection, so he tries to... He's not completely over it yet, so he's not talking to a lot of the family present there. But, of course, if there's people missing, then that's the case that needs solving. So he would already be trying to investigate a bit on the downtime, see if there's some connections he can already find on the street.
Okay. So you've probably already maybe called some contacts up in Camden, Maine, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Okay, you know what? I like that. Go ahead and remember this. You've got a discretionary boost. It means that you've got 1B that you can add to any check that you choose one time, sometime in the adventure. So remember that. Teammates, remember that he has one too. So it's easy to forget discretionary boosts. Next up is Took. Hey Brandon, can't hear you if you're talking.
Oh, muted. Yeah, Took would probably just be on the grounds, probably wandering around in the gardens, just completely oblivious that there's an issue.
Oh my god. I'm already getting this very clear vision of your character now. And next up, Luca.
Well, Luke would probably also be out on the grounds, mainly because he's kind of taken up the position, I guess, maybe not officially, of the estate's groundskeeper, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He manages all the I don't know, just the nice looking plants and presentation, things like that, and makes sure that everything's in working order. A nice little ecosystem around the grounds, just as a kind of a hobby sort of thing,
Okay. So, that's probably put you into pretty frequent contact with Gino, aka the Hound. Or Hound, not the Hound, sorry. Because he's a hunter that is often on the grounds. He... would there be a connection? It's up to you.
If he's out there a lot, probably.
Okay.
That's pretty much the place Luca lives, pretty much. He just kind of stays outside, and whenever someone needs him for something, they just go find him.
Okay. And so one of the things with Gino is that he specialized in taking out woodland supernatural creatures, including werebeasts, every now and then. So he may have been, and James, he's your character, so correct me if I'm wrong, but he may have been pretty wary of Luca at first, but when he realized that Luca was all about kill the werebeast, he's like, oh, okay, he's great.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. It's just kind of that when the only tool you've got to hammer everything's a nail kind of approach. He sees a werebeast and he just, no, this isn't great.
Most importantly, how do you feel Luca got along with Brutus, Gino's dog, his bloodhound? Because with werebeasts it could go either way. Did they get along or not?
I mean, as a rule, with animals, he's usually got kind of just a respectful sort of attitude, not necessarily like unless it's if it ever showed any sign of aggression, he would have just kind of stopped that, I guess, quickly by being, stoic and animalistic, and then I presume that after that point, it would not be too bothered by him anymore. Might even be scared of him. But if not, then he'd probably just be fairly gentle and respectful with it.
Okay. So tell you what, you get a discretionary boost related to Brutus.
Okay.
And next up, we've got Secular, Shaun.
So he tends to keep to himself a little bit, so he's likely to be walking the grounds in terms of security, since he doesn't need to eat or sleep or anything like that.
Right.
So he keeps an eye on things like that, and then a lot of times he'll just try to find like a high point, so somewhere on the building to kind of like just sit around and gargoyle a bit, kind of like look
Yeah.
over the grounds and the like.
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Since you've been back, from the beyond and whatnot, it seems like so much joy has been just drained from your life. I wonder, has color also been drained? Do you see full color or not?
Oh, I didn't really consider that. I guess it would all be kind of
Muted?
yeah, muted or like a low saturation kind of thing. So he could still see the difference between a red light and a green light
Right.
and stuff, but it doesn't have the vibrancy of
Got it.
before.
Okay. Good to know. So with that, the five of you are called in, and I'm going to arrange your tokens just to make it a little bit easier. Called in to speak with Bernadette Griswold. And this is kind of rare. It's not that she's not approachable, but you can count the number of times that you've spoken to her personally in her personal office on one hand. All right, just give me one moment. And sometimes you'll probably wonder, why is Tommy moving me when there's like tons of usable space? It's because there are GM notes in that space that you guys can't see. So, one moment. As you near Bernadette Griswold's office, you can hear the music of Vivaldi echoing down the hall. As you enter the office, the head of the Griswold family greets each of you in turn and bids you to sit in front of the immense mahogany desk that dominates the room. So, before she really gets into it, do any of you start off with anything?
No, not me personally, at least. I think Luca by this point is mostly reactive. I think he finds that other people are more nervous when he takes the lead in things, so he usually just kind of waits to be a little respectful to other people.
Okay. So, she goes ahead then. Hello, agents. As you have most likely heard from your fellow agents already, Joshua Benton has gone missing, along with Chelsea Reed and Gino Ciccerone. Joshua's family has been notified. Unfortunately, the agent that we sent there, or rather the agent who was closest, was not accepted into their estate. You may be familiar with him, Brian Schwarzwalden. He's a vampire, and he was the closest, and I suppose that wasn't the best idea, though he is quite silver-tongued, and I thought that maybe he would be able to. Well, and she kind of trails off a bit there, but just for an aside for viewers, we have what are called side missions, and so we had a very socially minded character who went on a side mission to talk directly to the Benton family to smooth things over, because there's quite a bit of a feud between the Griswolds and the Bentons, and Joshua Benton actually, to quell that disunity, joined the Griswolds officially as an employee, and now he's gone missing. Not a good scene. So Bernadette continues. No doubt the Benton Sisters, will be sent in to investigate. Though their father, James, was rather elusive on that point when I asked. Regardless, given the tension between the Griswolds and Bentons, it would behoove us to ascertain exactly what happened and hopefully return Joshua, Chelsea, and Gino to safety, preferably before the Bentons themselves get involved and fall back on their tired complaints that they pull the most weight on the council. So, questions for Bernadette? Or regarding the agents? Or the situation in general?
What do we know about the sisters?
So the sisters, yes, the Benton sisters. Bridget, Amber, and Grace. 3 very accomplished hunters, particularly the eldest, Bridget. Everything that Joshua knows, he learned from his sisters. Amber, the middle sister, is a very accomplished witch. And Grace, the youngest, is quite a healer. I would say, and this is not personal bias, but Chelsea Reed, our own Bliss, is probably better. But I'm sure the Bentons would argue that point.
Do we know anything specific about where Joshua went missing?
Yes, Camden, Maine. That was where he, Chelsea, and Gino went to investigate possible ghost sightings. There was a bit of trouble, though, because they did not report back the first on the first set time, and by the second, I knew something was wrong. Joshua, in particular, is very, how should I put this? He tends to overcompensate when it comes to following regulations. 1, because he's a Benton, and 2, and she actually looks like a little uncomfortable before saying something, and she doesn't, so she stops.
Shaun would have barely kind of perked up at the mention of ghosts, and he's going to ask, what was the nature of the case they were investigating?
That we do not know of.
Do we know that they even made it?
Yes, they did report in when they made it. So they were last known in Camden, Maine. Confirmed.
Well, we should go and get them back then.
Absolutely. Any further questions before you all head out to Camden? All right, we are heading to Camden, Maine. Oh, I'm trying not to grab Gino's or Brutus's token. Good. The coast of Maine is renowned for its beautiful rocky coast and offshore islands, its lighthouses and lobsters, quiet white-steepled villages, and fiery fall foliage. Situated midway up the coast, the Camden-Lincolnville Rockport area has been dubbed the jewel of the Maine coast. Oh, give me a moment. I thought I didn't start recording. I'm like, no, but I did. Yay. And the largest town at the center of it, Camden, where the mountains meet the sea. Truly one of New England's most picturesque coastal villages, Camden is a rare village hosting both incredible ocean and lake access, as well as one of the state's greatest parks. So, just take a moment to look at this incredible place. I actually, after doing this or creating this adventure, I'm going to visit this place. This place is just really cool. And you all will be staying at the Grand Harbor Inn. So I'm just curious, are you guys taking a rental car or a Lyft or an Uber to the hotel? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just curious what your characters would be doing.
Shaun would walk.
Yeah.
Luca would also probably walk.
So where did we? How did we get here? Did we get flown in? How did?
Yeah, you got flown in, private
Okay.
jet.
Okay.
Good detail, though. Good question.
I don't think Jeremiah's in, like if he's got to have a cell phone for work, whatever. It's definitely a flip phone. It's this newfangled stuff. Not here to stay. Taking a taxi.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right. You guys are in a taxi. So, as you are heading towards the Grand Harbor Inn, you start to hear sirens. So, one police car, then another, zooms right past you. And the taxi driver looks a little bit surprised. He's like, "What? Oh, something's going on in this sleepy town?" So yeah, these cop cars zoom like right around you. I mean, they're burning rubber.
Where do they look to be headed?
They are heading away from they've turned off where you guys would turn the opposite direction to go to the hotel. What do you guys do?
Well, it might be something important, but I don't know if it's important enough to consider us.
Well, here's the thing. Give me an average knowledge education check. Just one for the party. Who wants to roll it?
I can snag that.
All right.
Let's see. How does this work? So, was it EG? BD. It was average, you said?
Yes.
This will do what I want it to. Well,
Okay. Interesting. I am going to say that you succeeded, but oh, that's three threats. You tell me well, let me tell you what the success is first. So just from reading up information on Camden, Maine, crime doesn't really happen here very often, not
Right.
like this. And so, and as you saw the cop cars going by, you could see the expressions on the cop in the passenger window. I mean, something really big has happened here. This is not, yeah, this is not something ordinary.
So maybe for the threat, it's somehow like we lose the trail. Like, maybe when I heard you were coming here, took a look at a map or whatever, but now really incorrect guess for where they're going or something like that. Like I totally just swap directions around or something.
I don't want to do that since the success, I mean, and also you can hear the sirens.
Fair
Um,
enough. That's a good point.
yeah. I mean, if you really want to go that route, sure. But I would suggest that another alternative, or maybe,
Maybe a suggestion. Maybe we can follow it, but the taxi driver just loses them along the way. I don't know if that's threaty enough or not.
or it could be, how about this? You knew a good deal in terms of this check, but maybe this would make you have some other details not so right about this town. So, um, I would say that maybe I get a discretional setback on a future check.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. All right. So, um, I'm assuming you guys were following then?
Sounds good to me.
Okie doke. So,
For those of us who didn't take the cab, so like,
would you really have split off from the party? I'll allow it if you want, but it
yeah,
means
well, I
that you're
mean,
not
like,
going to be in this encounter coming up.
I mean, like, character-wise, he tries to avoid public situations because of how uncomfortable it tends to make things more difficult for the rest of the group.
Yeah, I mean, then you wouldn't have
Okay.
been walking in the town though, right? Because then you'd be walking in the public.
That's a little different because it's more like you're just crossing paths with people, whereas like sitting in a cab with someone for several minutes could upset folks.
Okay. So also too, I don't want to overrule your RP, but I guess I should
Sure.
have asked this before we started the mission. But remember that you guys are a team and you do things like this on a regular basis. So
Right.
this
Yeah.
wouldn't
Fair enough.
necessarily be your first mission together. And so with everyone in a car and then you walking is fine, but there would need to be a very specific purpose to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, let
Right.
me
Yeah.
case out the
For
town,
the
let
game.
me, not just, it would need to be more than I, I have social anxiety sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But you can do it. So what I'm saying is yes, but what are you doing in terms of backing your teammates up while you're separate from them?
Well, like they're still able to contact him if he has his phone. He just would have been
Mhm.
making his way directly to the hotel. Um,
Got it.
not
Oh, so another thing, too. You guys can just assume that you've got fancy earpieces and mics, so you can communicate with each other
right.
pretty well. All right, so
For facility's sake, for the first mission, I'll have him ride with everyone, but it's something I'll consider for future missions.
okay, like I said, I don't want to say you can't do it, so don't feel pressured into that. I just need to know what you're doing
Yeah.
for. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Right, so you guys see a burned out shell of a building. If I can get one perception check from the group.
Um, I'd have the raw cunning for that, but I don't have any ranks.
Yeah, same.
I have a yellow and a green.
Okay. I know that you guys will get a boost or two. Yeah, you're engaged with Brass, and I believe Brass has heightened awareness, yes? Glenn, does Brass have heightened awareness? I thought I saw that on your sheet. Glenn, you're muted or your mic's off.
Yes.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think yes, he
so
does have it.
whoever wants to roll it, do 2B on the check.
Keep forgetting I'm on push to talk.
If you think Luca would be more engaged with this, I think Took would be a little distracted by everything going on. If you want to roll the perception.
Okay. And someone said they had ranks in perception as well, right?
Yeah, I have a rank in perception.
All right, so I'll do a little assistance. I'll do my counting with yours. And the 2B, right? You said what was the difficulty?
It is an average.
Okay. Let's see if this works. All right.
I totally misread that. So, all right, well done. So you can tell that this burned out building, it burned a long time ago. This is not recent. Not at all.
Okay.
And as you all get out of the taxi, you are stopped by a policeman. Hey, what are you doing here? So, you guys, there's something you guys have a bad feeling about, like something's going on in that house, and you need to get access to this crime scene. So, Deception is probably the most clear go-to for social skills, but I'll allow other social skills, including skills that might help with a deception check. Um, but impersonating law enforcement of some kind would be very helpful to gain access. And Jack Ashton, actually, as a cop, he has some falsified credentials on him and has done this quite a bit. So I believe, yeah, it's one boost for your badge. But like I said, how do you guys want to go about this? How do you want to get access to this crime scene?
I can definitely give it a try.
I
Pretty
could
good at
also
lying.
do it with the police badge.
Uh, yeah, I mean, we could do it together.
Sounds fine for me.
Yeah, so figure out how you will blend your skills, and it will be one red, one purple on Lieutenant Martin.
Yeah, so I've got a yellow and 3 ability, so even if
Yeah.
it's unskilled, it'd still be good.
Yeah, for deception, I just have 2 greens. If I remember correctly, I have the boost die for the badge and
Okay,
the
so
the yellow thing.
we'll say that you're giving unskilled assistance. However, let's RP it since you are adding 2 boosts, not just one. What do you say to Lieutenant Martin? Before Took like really goes in for it.
Well, I tried to play up my seniority a bit, so son, what seems to be the damage here? Maybe flip my badge.
So, and you tell me, maybe you're impersonating Maine State Trooper, or are you doing FBI? Like, where?
I think it would be the just not a local force, but one nearby from a
Okay,
nearby
so like
town.
the state police then, state trooper.
Yes.
Okay, and then Took. So Lieutenant Martin is like, yes, yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
I will just give him a quick smile and say, "Oh, we're the Special Investigations Unit. I believe that we're supposed to be allowed access to this area."
Oh, an Irish lass, eh? Oh, he seems a little bit flustered there a bit. All right, so yeah, let's go with that roll. And tell you what, because of the accent, I'll give you an extra boost on the check. Oh, also remember, guys, you have 5 story points to my 1, so I mean, you have plenty to use.
Yeah, do we want to go ahead and roll 1 for this one? If someone can trigger that?
Probably be useful.
Yeah. So I'm working on the roll if someone else wants to.
So wait, before we do this, just in case,
Mhm.
from the perception check rolling back a bit,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming he would kind of have stepped up and sniffing at the air quite a bit, kind of determining that there's no like active fire. This place is long burned down.
Oh, with your advantages, you smell blood.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering basically if you could use those
Mhm.
2 advantages to kind of if he'd smelled something, so we could get more of like a
You
make it
smelled
seem like we know more about what's going on than
absolutely
it seems.
good one. I like that. You smelled Gino's blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gino's come back with like minor cuts and whatnot, so you are very familiar with the smell of his blood. Gino's blood is in there.
Yeah. So like before we even step up, Luca would have like nudged Tucker Jack and just been like, "Someone's injured inside.
Mm.
It's Gino." Does he smell Brutus?
Um, he smells faint traces of Brutus. He smells
Okay.
Brutus's blood. Yes,
Oh.
he does.
Oh.
The dog is here too.
Tommy, would you say there's a chance of, as they're like talking, kind of sneaking to the backside of the house? Like, how inundated with police is the area?
It's pretty inundated, but they're all really busy with their own things. I mean, you could see they all look really flustered. I mean, this is not
Uh-huh.
something that they deal with on a daily basis. I mean, they're usually telling tourists to, not they're dealing with like tourist problems. Do you know what I mean? Not these sorts of things.
Right, right.
So sure,
Um,
you can if you want.
yeah, I think like the thing is, some of the rest of the group might look like they would belong in a police task force, but Sean's dressed in like a big giant hoodie and he's covering his face and all that kind of. So I think he's gonna try to sneak around to the back
Okay.
uh, in
So
case they meet anything inside.
normally this would be a hard check because of so many people, but like I said, they're
Yeah.
super distracted. And I'm going to say it's just an average check, but it's going to be one red, one purple. And I'll say one setback just for the number of people.
One red. Can I get a boost since they're distracting Martin?
I'm sorry, what?
Can I get a boost since they're distracting Martin?
Sure. And remember, you guys have the story points. Give me story points.
Oh, sure. I'll spend one. Why not?
All right.
Yeah, someone could roll one for me too.
Okay, maybe for a new person's experience, maybe just quickly say what a story point is. I saw it a few times, but not a minute of explanation.
Oh, so story points are kind of a way to shift destiny in the game. And by the way, guys, they actually do use the word destiny in Genesis too. Um, so it basically gives you guys ways to add things to the narrative to also influence checks. So mechanically, what you can do is you can flip a story point and you can upgrade a check, or you can upgrade the difficulty of someone else's check. But I would love to see more of it being used to inject certain details into things as you guys see fit. But most likely, or more often, it's used for the mechanical effect.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so, oh, okay, great. Someone flipped the points. Oh, yes, thank you, GM Assistant James. All right, so let's see Sean's roll first.
Ooh.
Oh.
All right, so you failed, but you got 3 advantages and a triumph. So you tell me what happens.
Yeah. So I can't sneak around back.
Right.
Okay. Give me a second. So if how did Tig
Took.
Tig
Took.
Took if Took wants to roll, just give me a second. I think.
So, Lieutenant Martin, are you going to let us in?
Wow, that was close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Lieutenant Martin is just seriously flustered, and but yeah,
We're
he's
going
like,
to-
of course. And
we're going to need some space per protocol.
oh,
You'll get your men out
yes,
of there.
yes. And so he gets on the CB with his men, and it's just like, hey, we've got the backup. Cavalry's arrived. Give them space. You can hear some pushback from some of the forensics investigators that are in there, and he's like, no, these guys are from the state. Like, they deal with this stuff, guys. And yeah, so they're kind of backing away, and Lieutenant Martin is like looking over at Took, and then trying to look like he's not looking.
And maybe for all those advantages, he like shares, a bunch of information about what they've already found or suspect or anything like that, because it's like 8 advantage.
Yeah. So, how do you guys ask that actually?
So Took would, as Jeremiah and the others start moving towards the house, Took will take out his card, and hand it over to Lieutenant Martin. Professional business courtesy. If there are any other issues here, you can definitely give me a call, and say that with a wink. And are there any other details of what happened here?
Yes, ma'am. So obviously, Lieutenant Martin totally thinks that Took is a girl. But yeah,
Not correcting him.
what's that?
I'm not correcting him.
Good choice. He's totally enthralled, beguiled, you might say. So he says, "Oh, it's horrible. I mean, we don't know. It's like some kind of wild animal or something. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, we actually some of the some of the hikers back at Camden State Hills, uh, they've seen some like messed up deer, and we have like coyotes, not wolves or anything like that. I mean, some of the marks on some of the deer look more like a bear or something tore into them."
Luca squints at him.
Well, we've got the old men over here. They'll be doing the investigating, I'm sure, and we'll get this handled for you.
All right. Well, thank you. And he's like looking at the card and sets it down, and he's looking really proud of himself, but he's kind of blushing a bit.
If there's anything else you learn, give me a call.
Will do. Will do.
Okay, so I can't sneak into the scene itself with everyone, but with the trying for those advantages, maybe there's like an important clue or trail that's outside of the crime scene that the cops haven't picked up, and Shaun catches on to that, so that he's not like he could either follow that trail or pick it up and then rejoin with the others once they're out of the crime scene.
Yeah, sure. Let me think about that. So you see a bloody footprint, two sets of bloody footprints, and they just vanish. Like they're there, it's clear, and then the tracks just completely vanish.
They're leading where?
Just away from the house, but then they're gone. And with it, let's say this, that's for the advantages with a triumph. You think it's someone who can teleport.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's your guess.
Okay.
Because just the way that either they teleport or flew, or I mean, the trail just cuts completely.
Okay.
All right, so for the rest of the group, and it'll just be easier, so I'm going to grab your token too, but JB, you're not there.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
You're loitering back behind the place or whatnot. All right, so you all see three bodies, and I need everyone to give me a hard fear check, 3P. However, before you roll, I need to look over some fears here, but one in particular I will put in. So I'm going to flip the story point here, but let me run this by you first, Ben, because I'm going to try to inject something narratively, and let's see if you like it.
Okay.
Maybe at some point in your past, you did lose control, and this scene looks way too similar to when you lost it.
Yeah, so that's actually one thing. Luca purports that he has never killed a person, but the truth is that the first time he ever remembers actually losing control, he's not sure if he did or not. And someone was killed in the town he was in, but he doesn't know if he did it.
Oh,
He
Okay.
tells himself he didn't, but he doesn't really know if he did or not.
Okay. So, I'm going to flip a destiny, or I will flip a story point to add that detail. And since this is locking into your fear, I'm going to say that we're going to... Yeah, so I'll flip for that detail, and let's say, do you think it would be fair that you would have an upgrade to the check?
Sure. That would be the result of a normal flip anyway. You could just say that's the reason why.
Yeah, okay, that works. So Destiny UD1, I think. Yeah. Okay, so everyone else, roll your fear checks. Wow, nice one, Luca.
He's out of
And
practice.
Luca, especially because you faced your fear, like a very specific fear, you get a discretionary boost.
Okay.
And this can be
Yeah,
used
he-
at any point in the mission.
He kind of looks around at this, and actually, I guess while everyone's rolling through their fear checks, he would absolutely, since he's already kind of picked up the sense and things like that, and this is a scene that's not, I guess, foreign to him. He's used to coming upon piles of gore in places, not usually human, but mostly animals. But basically, yeah, he's going to be searching this area, looking for trails out. One thing to note is that he does have the forager talent, which is mostly useless for this, but it does have a caveat in it where it is takes half the time to search an area. So
Okay, good
he's
to know.
very efficient at getting the lay of the land.
Right. All right. good
Just
stuff.
for me, is a fear versus your cool, or is it just versus your willpower?
It's cool or discipline.
Alright.
Technical rules are it's only discipline now, but we're using the rules from Star Wars because we want more than just one avenue for success, as Brandon brought up.
Alright.
Tommy, when there's a natural break in this scene, there is a couple things I'd like to try to do with where I am.
Okay. Yeah. Did everyone roll? I think I'm missing one roll. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Oh, so let's see here. You succeeded, but interesting. I'll say this. You just take 2 strain. This is kind of stressing you out, but other than that, no big deal. However, Jeremiah, you are really rattled by this. Maybe in particular because you had kind of not so much a friendship, but grudging mutual respect with Gino. Or maybe you knew the other two. Or maybe also, too, with Joshua gone, what are the Griswolds going to tell the Bentons? So this whole situation's got you really rattled. So any checks for this encounter will be at 1 setback.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's all those plus like in the archives that relate to this, and just kind of the general unsettling that this looks like it is.
Right. So there are multiple checks, different checks that you guys can attempt here. One of the things to note is that it's just 1 per party, but you can have multiple checks, and the ones that I'm going to list off are just possibilities. So all of these, just to make it simple, will be hard checks, but you can do Arcana, you can do Divine, you can do Lore, Secret War, Medicine, Perception, Vigilance, open to others, but all of these can give you a different piece of the puzzle. So what would you like to do first?
Well, kind of like I narrated before. How about survival? He's kind of looking for ways, just a more complete picture of what happened.
Absolutely. Survival does work. Okay. So hard check survival.
Okay. I don't want to help with that. Just unskilled or otherwise.
I think Took would be focusing on an Arcana check here, so he'll be saving for that.
And
I
I
don't
think
know.
Jack will be best with a perception check.
Okay. I'll just do the survival then.
Ooh. Okay. So this is we're gonna have to split player and character knowledge a bit here, but so for Luca, you're pretty certain that it was some sort of beast. There are claw marks on these three. It does not look good. With those advantages, though, you tell me what do you think might have been gleaned from that? Oh, here's one thing. You're pretty certain that Brutus might still be alive. You can smell some of his blood, but not as much as everybody else's.
All right. I guess he might be interested in following that trail then.
All right, next up.
I can give a secret war check a try.
Okay.
That's a
Oh,
vigilance check,
so
by the way.
I forgot two details as well. Gino and Chelsea are both missing their left hand. Joshua has a burn mark on his throat. Those are just very clear that you can see. In addition to all the claw wounds.
Nice. So 2 success and an advantage.
Okay, and sorry, what was this check again? Secret War?
Secret war. Yeah. Is it possible to add quotes after the roll to add the note for it or anything? Do you know?
I'm not sure actually.
I tried to experiment with it, but I couldn't get it to work with quotation marks or just text.
It might be good just to type it in first and do it, and then do the roll right after. Oh, James had to step away. So while James is on the way back, let's do another check.
I can try for an Arcana.
Okay.
Let my eyes start to glow, and I'm looking around the room.
Oh, nice effect. What color do they glow?
It's like a light purple.
Ooh.
Nice and arcane. Okay. And so all of these are
Hard checks.
hard. Okay. Oh, wow. Wait, no, I didn't roll that right.
EG for not rolling correctly.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. Take 2 strain for that effort, but yeah, you get some good information. So, a very powerful arcane spell was cast here. You know that actually it was at least 2 casters that cast this spell together. This was a very powerful ritual. This was not some normal arcane spell. And you see a vision of silver chains.
And so is it specifically the silver chains that would unsettle me? What do I have a reaction to that? An aversion to it?
No, not really, because Feyborn, it's iron that they're worried about.
Yeah.
But just for some reason, you just see this image of silver chains, ritual, maybe you can hear chanting, echoes of the chanting. And for that triumph, I'm going to say that you remember hearing about spells related to let me see. I can't give too much away because it would be a different check, but I will say this. Oh, this is so hard, but it was a triumph. So
Is it something that could really benefit the secret war check? If I'm describing like what I'm seeing from this ritual
Absolutely, yes,
for
yes.
Jeremiah,
Yeah,
so I'll, I guess, effectively use that triumph to upgrade his check,
yes,
so we
perfect.
can get more information there.
Hey, James, are you back? All right, no worries. We'll hold that thought. Oh, okay. Jeremiah actually already did the secret war check, so
Oh,
um,
oops.
I will tell you what. I'll give Jeremiah. You can do a lore check, a separate lore check. Same
we-
difficulty.
Do we
but you
want to
get an
just call
upgrade.
mine? I mean, it's the same roll, so do we want to say mine was something else instead?
No, I'm giving you an upgrade from my check.
Oh, a subsequent lore check?
Yes, yeah. So you did a secret
I'm
war check, but now we're doing a.
Got it.
Yeah,
Oh, but
I'm
actually,
describing.
before you roll, we should let me do the bit with the secret war check thing. Um, let's see. You got success and an advantage. Let me see how much I can tell you. Do. Secret war. You're really troubled by the fact that Hound and Bliss are missing their left hands.
Right.
There is some, you know for a fact that that is used in some necromantic like rituals, things that you have read in the archives, things that you know. It looks like necromancy is involved here.
Interesting. But I don't have any more information about the specific sort of because like been risen here, but is this like, the kind of thing where that's sufficient to then make them rise just from a hand and other? Do I know anything more? Is for the advantage? Is that it?
That would be it. However, if you do a separate lore check, yeah, so this will be the lore check with the upgrade.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Took, having looked through the arcane eye, I guess, described a powerful ritual performed by two people and somehow connected to silver chains.
Interesting. Lore check incoming. Wow.
Let's see here.
I'm gonna,
You remember hearing about okay, here's what you know. So you succeeded, but there are a lot of threats. So there's going to be some little bit of muddled here, but the truth is within this, what I'm about to tell you. Yes, this was necromancy was practiced here, and it looks like someone was purposely trying to create ghosts.
Yeah. So, I guess he's kind of working with Took at this point. It sounds like pretty closely. So he'll lean over and say, "I've read about this. The whoever did this is keeping pieces to perhaps kind of forcing that lack of closure for the dead or anything like that."
Why didn't they take a piece from Joshua then?
Yeah. Why?
Maybe I can do a perception check and see if there's anything wrong with him.
Yeah. Hard perception check. Remember, you guys have plenty of story points.
Yeah. And I could potentially help you with that. What's your, do you have ranks in perception?
Yeah, 1. So it's 1 yellow, 1 green.
Okay, so take my cunning, so add 2 more green to that. Luca will be helping you look at him.
2 green, right?
Yeah, 2 more green.
Nice. Joshua's still alive. So if you guys actually look at the bars, his wound threshold he's right on his wound threshold. He's not dead. And with that triumph as well, as you look on his throat, um, you see two puncture marks. It looks like the burn was actually cauterization to stop this wound on his throat.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, he's alive, but I mean, he needs help, guys.
Took after hearing that will run to the front and start shouting for a medevac. That they need first responders.
Look, like as Took is like starting to run out, he'll stop real quick and be like, "Hold on."
Do we know what we're doing here?
Does anyone have like a medic thing they can
You
do?
think they do? Let me try first. And he'll get ready. Sorry, I'm just looking at the heal skill rules. Sorry.
Mhm.
So it's easy. It's the same as a medicine, right? Show target. Just making sure it's not like. So he is incapacitated.
Right.
Okay, so he's above his wound threshold.
No, he's like at it, but kind of like just narratively, he's really messed up. In other words, like he is kind of at the equivalent of if I don't get a heal now, I die.
Gotcha. So at wound threshold, technically not incapacitated, but very fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that means the heal check, unless I add stuff to it, is still the base one.
Oh, I guess it should be over wound threshold. I probably should have put him a little bit over, just to match the narrative there.
Okay, that's fine then. So that means it'll add stuff. I'll add the boost from the fear because he's like, he's angry. He doesn't want. If he can keep one person from having been, claimed by this attack, then it'll be a good outcome. So
Right.
I'd say flip a story point too.
yeah, I think that'd be good.
I guess I can lend unskilled assistance, perhaps having seen. Once you notice knowing a bit more about what might be going on. So
Okay.
just a boost.
And I'll flip a story point too.
Okay.
Well, I guess
Well,
I should have just not done it at all. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, James,
Evens
if you
out.
can flip the other one.
Let's see what happens. This is primal. He's using magic. There we go.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Well done.
Okay, so you have fully stabilized him. He is no longer bleeding out. He is no longer, well, I won't say too much there, but he's stable. You definitely saved him.
Yeah. So what he kind of does is like he'll find the most grievous bleeding wounds on him that were not covered by his emergency cauterization, and he's basically like ripping strands off of like a rope or a handkerchief, and he like places them over the wounds and then channels a little bit of magic, and whatever he puts in there turns to like flesh and knits up the wound.
Ooh, nice.
Ah, that's disgusting.
All right. So now that you've done that, what do you guys do?
Well, how do we plan to get him out of here? They're going to want to take him to a hospital.
To be honest, they probably need to take him to a hospital.
Yeah, something to recover. I mean, we can stay with him with the investigators, right?
Is there a hospital in the neighborhood that we know of that might have some connections that could
Mhm.
help us?
Yeah, there's a pretty big one, Penn Bay Medical Center.
I can go report that to the lieutenant and get him going.
All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm sure they're going to be very annoyed that they left a living person here.
Well, that's why they've got people from the state. Okay, so how do you tell Lieutenant Martin this news that actually you guys left someone alive in there?
You know, we're the professionals here. We were able to perform some first aid. The younger male was actually still alive. We need to get an ambulance here
What?
immediately.
Oh my god, what? So he's freaking out. Paramedics overhear you. And so everyone just bursts into activity. And so we need to get him to the hospital right now. You can hear a policewoman also stating, "Hey, LT, I just had some more state troopers call in. The office of the chief medical officer just had a fire. It's been taken care of, but there won't be any autopsies in Augusta today." And Lieutenant Martin's just like, you can just see he looks so overwhelmed right now, and he's like, "Damn it, okay, let me make a call. Go ahead and get the bodies to Penn Bay Med. They can keep the bodies in their morgue until we hear back from the med heads." So it looks like the bodies of Gino and Chelsea are going to the hospital along with you guys. Convenient. All right, so JB, you had something that you wanted to do. We're at that break.
Yeah, so where that trail finishes, Shaun would like to kind of activate a like a second sight kind of thing where he could see if there was a magical trail to follow beyond that one, where he could see maybe what exactly happened here. Like if there was magic that was cast or...
Sure. Make it a hard check.
So, okay. I guess would this be... I don't know what kind of spell this would be.
Utility.
I don't have utility spells.
Oh.
Or is that everyone?
Yeah, okay,
okay.
yeah, you would need that to kind of do this sort of...
Okay.
You know,
In that case...
I thought utility was something just... It's just whatever.
Oh,
everyone has
yeah.
it.
Maybe it is the universal skill.
Is it?
Yeah,
But
I think so, because the idea is it's kind of
Yes,
it's for this kind of
it
thing.
is,
It's not
it
for
is.
use in structured
Yes,
combat. It's
Yes.
Everyone has access to it, but when we picked our
Mhm.
spell types, we
Oh,
had
yeah,
to pick,
yeah.
or when we picked our thing, we had to pick 2 spell types, right? But I guess utility is
It's
not
just one
included
that
in
you just have.
that. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Utility's
Okay.
free? Oh, that's good news.
Okay. So you said hard.
Yeah. James, if you can verify that, I'm pretty sure it's correct though. But
Well, I mean, the whole like you
Yeah,
only
there-
get access to certain ones. We made that rule, so
Yeah, there won't be any raw justification for that. That's all on us. That's our decision.
oh no,
but it
no,
is
no.
very
There,
much stated that it's not.
there are schools that have certain things blocked, but I'm pretty
Oh, you
sure
wanted on
utility
that side
isn't
of it.
one them.
Okay.
No, they all have utility.
Great.
They all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
okay.
everyone can start with utility. That's not one you have to worry
Okay.
about.
I think that's what I want. Okay. Alas.
Well, for the advantages, you don't really get any sense of what you were particularly looking for, but with those advantages, you know that you're pretty sure that 2 people cast this spell together.
Okay. And then one last thing. I'd like to conjure a spirit that maybe saw what was happening here. So I don't these are things we haven't really determined about the world, but I figured that minor spirits are don't have a super high intelligence or anything like that, but they might be able to give vague ideas. So if he summoned a spirit of a nearby tree or something like that. I don't know if everything has a spirit. I'm not sure what the full breadth of the magic in this world is yet.
Sure. Flip a story point to inject that narrative into our story. Sure.
Okay.
Trees
I don't know
have
how to
spirits,
flip.
too.
I don't know how to flip.
Oh, it's in the handouts. It's got the how to flip, or it's got the dice roll commands. It's a
Oh, destiny,
Yeah.
and then use light. Okay. What? Okay.
All right. It looks like you're not able to do it for some reason, but James, if you can roll the switch the destiny for him. And what kind of specifically, what sort of spirit are you calling upon?
Oh, I got it. I worked it. I figured it out. I guess I'm looking for just a spirit who might have seen anything magical take place
Okay.
in the area. What difficulty would you say that is?
A hard check.
Yeah. Okay. Wash.
Oh man. Okay.
That's okay. So that's
Good try,
that's
though.
enough. Yeah. But when he sees everyone heading off with the bodies, he'll figure out a way to get to the hospital to join them there.
All right.
I mean,
so-
I'd radio you over, make sure you got with us. So
Also, yeah, before we head off there,
yes.
how close is the hospital? I'm assuming we can get directions.
It's about 30 minutes away.
Okay. Because Luke would like to stay and see if he can track down Brutus before he leaves. So he'll kind of potentially just be like, "Hey, you guys can go. I'll meet you back at the hospital. He's gonna go look for a dog."
Okay. Yeah.
And I think Jack would
Let's-
maybe try and. Oh, go on.
Okay. Yeah. The let's do this. It will be it's going to be a 2 red, 1 purple check. And there's a very specific reason for that, but I can make it more apparent once after you roll.
Okay.
This is
What kind of check?
This is the track check, yeah. Track Brutus.
Okay. So I guess I'll use my Brutus boost because he kind of knows that dog a little bit. He knows his habits. And I guess I'll flip too. Might as well. Want to find a dog. Okay. Unless anyone wants to stay back and help, I'll just do that.
All right, I will flip as well then. So no movement on the board there with the story pool.
Okay. Let's do it. Well, that's something.
Okay, so you did not catch the trail, and the reason why is because Brutus does not want to be found. Like, this dog is a pretty smart dog, and you could tell that the dog was trained when injured to not leave an easy trail. So you're probably rather impressed that this animal was able to shake your trail. I mean, it definitely went through water. It went double backed on its trail a bit. 2 triumphs though. Gosh, so something really good. What are some ideas? What really awesome thing happened?
Well, I mean, he's kind of just searching this area, so maybe I guess going through his head at the moment is there's way too many things going on here. You know, we have signs of a lycanthrope tearing people apart, signs of a necromantic ritual in prime ghost territory, an old burned down house. There's too many things happening. One of the things has to be not real to him anyway. So maybe as he's searching, he might find something that helps narrow his mind, at least maybe into the legitimacy
Yes.
of this lycanthrope thing.
Yes. So you come across another trail that unfortunately fades out, but you can tell one thing: you never caught any trace of a werebeast. Nowhere. There was no, like, you're pretty convinced no, it was not a werebeast. Vampire blood. You found vampire blood.
Well, that is definitely important. So I think before he heads back to the hospital, he'll get to the closest spot he can estimate to like the general area he thinks Brutus may be hiding. He'll like pull something from his pack or find something, and he'll use a little magic to convert it into a nice meal and leave it somewhere where Brutus might find it.
Oh, nice RP. I'm going to give you 2 discretionary boosts to use with Brutus the next time
Okay.
something may come up, depending on how things progress with the story. No spoilers. All right. So, that little merry trip that Brutus took you on took a little bit of time, though. So, you're not going to be available for.
You can also search an area in half the time, thanks to Forager.
Okay. Good point. Yes, you will be able to take part in the next encounter, but there's going to be a delay. How about that?
Okay, that's fine.